guys? I'm Caleb and welcome back to Caleb's Kung Fu Cinema. Before I get started, as always, I got to remind everybody to subscribe to the channel, like this video, and share it, and leave a comment, and all that good stuff that we say here on YouTube. It helps. Anyway, and don't forget to click the link tree in the description so you guys can check out the podcast, the retired podcast, Caleb's Kung Fu Cinema, and you guys can follow me on social media and all that good stuff. So yeah, today, why am I here? Well, this is it. I have taken on the daunting task of ranking every single movie on Game of Clones Volume 1. That's right, 15 movies. And yeah, I decided, you know what? I'm gonna rank all these from worst to best. It wasn't really that hard. Anyway, yeah, I'm here to once again break all these down and from worst to best for you guys. So let's not delay it any further. Settle in and let's get started. And let me just add a quick disclaimer that whatever I may say about these movies, positive or negative things, at the end of the day, I'm still glad that we got this set. I'm glad that all these movies are on here. I don't want to see the best of Bruceploitation. I don't want to see the worst of it. I want to see all of it. I want the best of the best and the worst of it. So yeah, whatever I may say, that does not mean that I think they should have put something different on this set, or whatever it is.
That is the most horrifying thing I have ever seen.
Boy, this set is not not doing the best job when it comes to Bruce Lee, at least. I will say that the documentary on this set, Enter the Clones of Bruce, does a wonderful job with Bruce Lee, and having him tell his story and sharing so many incredible things with him and his life and stuff like that, and a lot of really tragic things as well. But the majority of movies they used for Bruce Lee in this set, most of them are not very good. Goodbye Bruce Lee, His Last Game of Death. I mean, it's not the worst movie on this set, obviously, and it's decent if you don't mind hearing King of Kung Fu an absurd amount of times. They play that song so many times in this movie. It's kind of funny and also a little grating at times. And this Game of Death was just a movie that Bruce Lee never finished, and it's a movie, even though it was never finished, it had a really long lasting impact on the particularly the video game industry and stuff like that. And it's also, I think, Game of Death is one of Bruce Lee's biggest what ifs, and this is kind of just, I guess, a hypothetical approach to what Bruce Lee's real Game of Death might have been. So I mean, I think that's what they were trying to do, and I like to think maybe they did the best they could, but I just don't think they really succeeded. Bruce Lee obviously was still very green at this time, and his the fight scenes aren't that great. I like the tower sequence. I mean, it's fun enough, but it also just could have been better. And I think the Game of Death concept is handled better at a different point in this set, which we will get to. But yeah, Goodbye Bruce Lee's Last Game of Death is pretty it's kind of weak, kind of weak. But you also kind of have to keep in mind that the people that were working on the set, Michael Wirth, all those guys, they were really they were doing the best with what they had, and that it's a lot of the movies they use what they could. They used films that they had the rights to, and they were able to put on this set. And I still applaud them for that, even if this movie is still not the best one on the set. I would say that Rage of the Dragon is kind of where the quality of the movie starts to starts to step up. I guess this is kind of where things start to pick up a little bit, but at the same time, Rage of the Dragon is still uh, a bit of an oddball, a bit of a strange movie. Its plot is quite confusing and like very all over the place and very messy. And that's something you're probably going to hear me say a good bit during this countdown, is that just a lot of the plots in these movies are very scrambled. It's just it's a common thing with these movies. And the fight scenes are not too bad. They compared to the other movies that we just covered. Rage of the Dragon is where fight scenes start to get a little bit better, even though they are still a little sloppy. Usually, I like sloppy choreography because I'm a big fan of basher films, and so I usually like that stuff. But with this one, it's kind of like trying to be a basher, but also kind of like trying to be a Shapes movie. So I don't know. It just didn't work very well. The sound effects are incredibly annoying. So if you guys haven't watched that movie yet or haven't gotten to that point in the set, yeah, get ready for that, because the sound effects are just insane. It's not a fun time. It definitely it's very distracting. It could probably take away from the experience a little bit. But I mean, Dragon Lee is cool. He's obviously very, very cool guy. He's fun to watch. Carter Wong is a decent villain, a solid villain in this one, even if the story is just incredibly scattered and doesn't really make any sense. Here's something I never thought I'd be saying. The Big Boss Part 2 is on this set. For a long time, I didn't even know of that movie's existence. I had no idea Bruce Lee's Big Boss had a sequel. But yeah, The Big Boss Part 2, this is considered a direct sequel to the original Big Boss with Bruce Lee, which was released in 71, I believe. And it's interesting. I would have liked to see more Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee is only in the first few minutes of this movie because, if anybody knows what happens at the end of Bruce Lee's Big Boss, you know that his character is now in prison. So, yeah, we only see Bruce Lee in prison one time, and then the rest of the movie focuses on Lo Lei, who plays Chang Chao-wan's brother. And throughout the movie, he is trying to kind of finish the tour of revenge that Chang Chao-wan could not finish. And it sounds cool on paper, but I think the movie still just gets a little lost here and there, because there's just a lot of there's some other things. Once again, the plot is kind of jumbled. It's Chang Chao-wan's brother trying to get revenge, but there's also talk of trying to find gold and stuff like that, and it's just strange. Yeah, but it was cool seeing the manager from the original Big Boss, the Ice Factory manager, and there are some pretty solid basher style fight sequences in this movie. So the Big Boss Part 2 is definitely an interesting watch. That's one that I can suggest, because I know Big Boss, a lot of people love Bruce Lee's Big Boss, and so if you kind of want to see the story sort of continue in a way, yeah, Big Boss Part 2 is the way to go. I gotta say, I did not have really high hopes for the Black Dragon versus the Yellow Tiger. I don't know what it was. There was just something about it, kind of just looking at it. It didn't seem like it was going to be that fun or that enjoyable or anything like that. But then the movie actually got started, and yeah, Black Dragon versus Yellow Tiger is actually a pretty fun movie, mainly for the fight scenes. Again, the plot, really nothing to write home about. Again, it's confusing, especially with our main character. So for those who don't know, Black Dragon versus Yellow Tiger is considered a direct sequel to Bruce Lee's Way of the Dragon, which of course has the iconic fight with Chuck Norris and all that. So yeah, Black Dragon versus Yellow Tiger. Our main character, his relationship with Bruce's character from Way of the Dragon, Tong Lung, it's again confusing. It doesn't really make any sense. Throughout the movie, they state that this guy is Tong Lung's brother, and then cousin, and then friend, and then classmate. It's weird. And then there's even a scene where he pretends to be Tong Lung. He like goes and confronts these gangsters and tells them that he's Tong Lung, and then fight ensues. But again, it's just like really all over the place, and I feel like maybe there was maybe it was. You could probably chalk it up to translation issues and stuff like that. But again, I didn't really understand the character, understand his motivation or anything like that. But I gotta say, the fight scenes in this movie are really, really good. The finale was kind of disappointing when we get the big end fight at the top. They try to like recreate the whole Coliseum sequence from Way of the Dragon where Bruce and Chuck Norris fought. So they try to recreate that, but I don't think that fight really delivered. But the fights that come before that are actually pretty fun, So I gotta hand it to him for Black Dragon versus Yellow Tiger. It is a pretty entertaining watch. It's solid. I had a hard time placing The Dragon Lives Again. In From one perspective, you could say this movie is just pure entertainment, and it is. It's a lot of fun. It's really something that you can kind of just sit back and turn your brain off and just watch this really insane movie with all these fictional characters. You see Popeye, you see Kane from Kung Fu. You see Zatoichi, James Bond, Scarface, Clint Eastwood's The Man with No Name, and Bruce Lee, of course, played by Bruce Long, who is incredible. But at the same time, and again, going back for just a second, the whole, Bruce Lee's trip to the underworld, and just all these other crazy things, and Dracula, and and all that. But yeah, you could look at those things and just think, hey, what, this movie is just one hell of a ride. It's very entertaining, and it is those things, but at the same time, it's almost too outlandish, and I think that's probably why I'm placing it right here. It is fun, but it's also a little just too crazy. So there were just some things that I didn't care for. They were just like so ridiculous that it kind of just took me out of it. But Dragon Lives Again is still is at the end of the day, it is still a fun movie, and I think people would probably find something to enjoy about it, or maybe not. I mean, I definitely know there are people who definitely did not like this movie, don't like anything about it, and that's of course that's fair criticism as well. As if one Bruce Lee wasn't enough, we've got three with the Clones of Bruce Lee. Technically four if you throw in Bruce Tai, even though he is not considered a clone in the context of the movie. But yeah, Clones of Bruce Lee is, again, it's another movie that is pretty crazy. Not as outlandish as The Dragon Lives Again, but it is still pretty crazy. Again, they clone Bruce Lee. Not once, but 3 times, and it's really insane. It's insane, it's weird, it's all those things, but it's still a lot of fun. There's a lot of really cool training sequences. You hear the Rocky theme at one point, which I think Hong Kong films were known for doing stuff like that, like just like taking soundtrack pieces, whatever you want to call it, musical pieces from like just straight from other things. So that was kind of funny. We see Bolo, and that is I could be wrong, but I think this may be like I think this might be the first movie that we're getting to where Bolo appears in this set. I could be wrong, but I'm not. I'm having a hard time remembering all of a sudden. But anyway, yeah, we get Bruce Lee, not Li, but Lai. We also get Dragon Lee. We get Bruce Lee. So there's some good training sequences. There's some fun fights. The end sequence is pretty fun, and we get John Ben, rest in peace. There's a great special feature on the Game of Clones set with John Ben. It was an interview that was conducted by Michael Worth, and it was right before John Ben passed away. It's a really great interview. But yeah, he shows up in this movie. He's like playing the mad scientist who clones Bruce Lee, and yeah, a lot of hijinks ensue and stuff like that. But yeah. Excuse me, or the Clones of Bruce Lee is still a lot of fun, even if I think they probably could have gone they probably could have took it. I think they maybe should have took it a step further with the like mainly the fights and stuff like that. There are fights, but there's also, I feel like they probably could have just done more. I don't think they 100% delivered. I'd say they probably more like maybe 90% delivered, but yeah, the Clones of Bruce Lee is still a lot of fun. It is again very entertaining. It's another one of those movies like Dragon Lives Again, where Clones of Bruce Lee is just pure entertainment. Okay, things are starting to get good. Pretty soon we're going to be in the top five, but at number six, Enter the Three Dragons, or just Enter Three Dragons. Sorry about that. Yeah, Enter the Three Dragons. Once again, really confusing plot, really confusing characters. It's I'm looking. You guys might remember me mentioning this in the big discussion I had with Food for Thought, Marshall Cedar 3000, Hong Kong and Beyond, Fanatical Dragon, love those guys. Shout out to all of them. But yeah, you guys may remember that I had said that this movie is just, characters are, hey, I'm looking for Dragon. I'm Dragon. No, not you, the other Dragon. There's a bunch of people in this movie named Dragon. Dragon Lee is in the movie, but he plays a character named Bruce, and it's just strange. But in a surprising twist, the story may not make may not make a lot of sense at times, and characters' names can get really confusing. But boy, do they deliver with the fight scenes! Like, wow, the fight scenes in Enter Three Dragons, they are firing on all cylinders. Like, whenever the fights happen, it's some of the most fun that I've had. I absolutely love the fight scenes in Enter Three Dragons. Especially the finale, like whenever we get the big fight with the main bad guys. That is just a great time. It's a lot of fun. And then I love Dragon Lee running in there with the very hilarious English dub. You guys have got to watch this movie just for the dub. It's so funny. But yeah, Enter Three Dragons is a lot of fun. I did not think it was gonna, again, just looking at the movie, I didn't think it was gonna be that fun. But then I started it, and I was like, wow, I'm really shocked how good the fight scenes are in this movie. So yeah, some of you guys may be wondering why I rank this above Clones of Bruce Lee. Clones of Bruce Lee, again, their fight scenes just did not quite deliver in the way that Enter Three Dragons did. Nothing about Challenge of the Tiger should work. And if it wasn't for Bruce Lee, it wouldn't. If it wasn't for Bruce Lee, this movie would be like way further down. It'd be like towards the bottom of the barrel. But Challenge of the Tiger is great because of Bruce Lee. That's just my opinion. But, Bruce Lee directed this movie, did the choreography. And he is, the best thing about this movie. He is the one shining beacon of hope in this movie. Everything else about it, I don't really care for. But when Bruce Lee is on screen and he is fighting, it is so much fun. He's so fast and so powerful, and he's just got a presence about him. And there are so many other great characters. We got Hwang Jong-Lee, who plays the villain. He is fantastic. We get Bolo. The final fight sequence with Bruce Lee and Hwang Jong-Lee, like, are you guys kidding me? It's just great. It's so much fun. And there's even, there is some comedy in the movie that works, like especially... there's one scene, again, I talked about it in the big discussion with all the guys, but Richard Harrison, gives us one pretty funny scene when he tells Bruce Lee that he's not going to walk in front of him anymore because he keeps getting attacked, and so Bruce Lee walks in front of him instead, but Richard Harrison still gets attacked, and Bruce Lee, nobody touches him. It's funny. Yeah, it's a subtle, little subtle joke right there. I love stuff like that. It's great. But yeah, again, Challenge of the Tiger, again, it should not work. The plot again is very weird with, trying to stop. It's like about, it's something to do with, again, I'm having a hard time remembering, something to do with, with fertility, something like that, the male reproductive system. I don't know. It's just weird. But again, Bruce Lee makes the whole thing work. He makes this movie fun. Now we're talking. Now we've got a good movie with Bruce Lee. I don't have anything against Bruce Lee. He's amazing. I love the guy. Many people consider like not even just many people, he's widely considered to be the best actor as far as Bruceploitation goes. He is the king of Bruceploitation, to pretty much everybody. And I would agree with that. However, just personally speaking, I like Bruce Lee more. He's just, I don't know what it is. He's just my favorite. But that does not mean I'm trying to take away anything from Bruce Lee. He is incredible. And Bruce and the Iron Finger shows it. And, again, earlier, like way back at the beginning of this, I was saying, they were not showing like top quality stuff as far as Bruce Lee went, but at least here we get one movie with Bruce Lee that is excellent. Bruce and the Iron Finger is really, really good. You can tell that Bruce Lee is much more experienced and much more mature at this point. He's got a confidence to him. His fight scenes and his choreography way more smooth, very solid, and then we get a bit of a murder mystery for the story, even if the mystery was pretty obvious to the audience and clearly was not very obvious to everybody in the movie, which of course brings me to Ku Feng, who plays our villain. Ku Feng is awesome. He is great. The guy is a legend. He was in some of the best martial arts movies out there, and he always gave 100% in his performances. He's great in this movie. He's very over the top and very crazy, just crazy obsessed kung fu guy. It's interesting. It's crazy, but it's not just Bruce Lee and Ku Feng. We also get Bruce Long. He is back in this movie. Him and Bruce Lee have an excellent chase/fight scene. That's like one of the best things about this movie. And then of course we get our big final fight in the shipyard. Li Song shows up. It's a really great time. Bruce and the Iron Finger is just really fun. It's definitely one of Bruce Lee's better films, and I'm glad that they were able to throw this one in here because again, one of Bruce Lee's best works. Now we're into the top three, and yeah, I don't care. Enter the Game of Death, number 3. I love it. It's excellent. I don't care what anybody says. I think Enter the Game of Death is a great movie. The Game of Death concept handled much better right here. It's also a spy espionage type film as well. There are more floors with the tower sequence that we see where we see Bruce Lee fight so many different people. I still don't like the scene with the snakes. I can't. It's hard to watch that, but overall, I think Enter the Game of Death is a very fun movie. It's got some really great choreography. Bruce Lee and Bolo fight an absurd amount of times, but it's still fun each time he fights them. Towards the end of the movie, like whenever we get the final sequence, like once Bruce Lee's character gets out of the tower, a lot of the fights start to go a little overboard with the slow-mo, and I didn't like that. I wish they had just kind of kept it faster. And if they were going to use slow-mo, don't use so much of it. But I still think the movie overall works way better than Goodbye Bruce Lee did. It's cool seeing seeing this movie in much better quality, because when I first watched this movie, the quality was not very good. So it's cool seeing this in this kind of quality. And again, it's just a lot of fun. It's the Game of Death concept done much better. One of the better Game of Death concepts overall, if you ask me, because Bruceploitation, a lot of those movies have tried to do that concept, and while I haven't seen many of them, I'm still curious to see if any of them could top Enter the Game of Death. I don't really know what else to say other than the Dragon the Hero is incredible. It's the best movie on here, save for number 1, of course. Enter the Clones of Bruce is probably why this whole set exists in the first place. Yeah, the documentary Enter the Clones of Bruce is the best movie on here. I know I just said that about The Dragon the Hero, but again, I said save for this movie, The Dragon the Hero is the best. The Dragon the Hero is an incredible movie. It's got the best fight scenes. It's got the best story. It's a straight up kung fu movie, and that's what I love to see. And if not for this documentary, we probably wouldn't have seen any of that stuff. We probably wouldn't have been able to see the Dragon the Hero. Yeah, Enter the Clones of Bruce is the best thing about this. It feels like Enter the Clones of Bruce. You know, I believe Fanatical Dragon said it best. It feels like, you know, the main feature here is Enter the Clones of Bruce, while all 14 movies after that are just special features. Anyone who doesn't know much about Bruceploitation or doesn't like the idea of it, I'm telling you, you guys got to watch this documentary. It's so eye-opening, and it's such an incredible story, especially, you know, when we learn more about Bruce Lee and about his life and about the lives of everyone else, like Bruce Lee and Dragon Lee and Bruce Lung. And, you know, we get interviews with so many other people that knew Bruce Lee, you know, himself, and you know, just, you know, stuff like that. And it's you know, again, it's eye-opening. And originally, you know, when I was younger, I only liked Bruce Lee, and you know, and I saw Bruceploitation as just you know, cheap mimicry, in some ways disrespectful. And this, you know, again, this documentary helped me learn to appreciate the genre. And it's again, it was just really eye-opening, and I'm really grateful for that experience. Yeah, if you guys aren't gonna watch all the other Bruceploitation films on this set, then that's fine. I get it, but at least watch this documentary. So there you have it, guys. We did it. We ranked all 15 movies on the Game of Clones Volume 1 from worst to best. And I gotta tell you, I had a lot of fun making this video. So yeah, that's it for this one. I did not want to retread too much ground that we had already covered in the discussion I had with the guys. So don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and you guys can check out the big 3-hour discussion I had with everyone. Martial Arts Theater 3000, Food for Thought, Hong Kong Beyond, the Fanatical Dragon. Another shout out to those guys, my Asian Cinema Circle brothers. That was such a great in-depth discussion. Again, I didn't want to retread too much right here. I was just trying to, you know, shortly sum up my thoughts on each movie the best way that I could, and hopefully I did enough for you guys. So let me know in the comments if you guys liked this list. If you agree with me, if you disagree with me, that's fine. You know, either way, it's always fun interacting with everybody. Let me know what you guys think the best movie on this set is. What you think the worst movie is. Give me your rankings in the comments if you want. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I appreciate it. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.